more resources, visit rym.org.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
The Local Youth Worker is a daily podcast that's centered on 5 questions each week. Ranging from the practical to the professional, we're looking for answers to the questions you're asking. Whether you're in full-time, part-time, or even volunteer youth ministry, this podcast is for you.
Hey everybody, we are back on our Friday show talking to Michael Hall. We've been talking about RYM's youth leader training all this week, and it's been encouraging as Michael and I just begin to reflect upon it and talk about it and get excited about the speakers this year. A Nashville conference. What is it, Michael? January
28th through February 1st, 2019.
Okay. And then Paradise, Pennsylvania dates?
Yep. March 11 through March 15,
Okay.
2019.
Good. Yeah. And getting excited about those. And really, Michael, what I said yesterday, just talking about why a second location. Why did RYM YLT expand to Paradise, Pennsylvania? And maybe I guess some of that might lead into what we said about the difficulties of taking a week away to maybe accommodate some of those schedules a little bit more by offering too. But just give us some background on that and why we expanded.
Sure. Well, as the Nashville conference grew, kind of in the 2013, 14, 15 timeframe, we were just super excited. I mean, our desire, of course, was to reach more and more youth workers, to encourage and equip and connect them. But what we began to realize is that the space we were using in Nashville, we were beginning to outgrow it. It's kind of a retreat center setting, a really nice retreat center setting just south of Nashville. Something that's important to our conference is not just that we can cram as many youth workers into a building as possible and get all this content at them as if it were, like I said earlier, kind of like a shopping mall or a convention, so to speak. We have a deliberate desire for there to be space for relational connection. And so even though we had roughly 200 folks in Nashville this past year, and comparing that to some events, that's maybe not huge, but that was beginning to outgrow our facility. And it was also creating, a little bit of, it began to outgrow our space, which also helped us think, okay, we've got to figure out a way to grow. And as we wrestled with that growth, one option is, hey, let's just go into downtown Nashville, find a hotel, go to the conference center mojo. And, that becomes cost prohibitive. We try our best to keep our costs down as much as possible. We certainly aren't making any money on YLT. We want to get access to as many youth leaders as possible. And also it would kind of begin to move against that interest in intimacy and relational connectivity. So we thought, okay, well, another way to grow the conference is not to make Nashville bigger, but to regionalize, like go closer to more youth workers. Because we both know, and many people listening know, that, very few churches have a bunch of money laying around to put their youth director on an airplane, fly them to Nashville, which is expensive. The tuition for the conference expenses, some of the various travel expenses, it can be an expensive event. So we wanted to try to get closer regionally to more youth workers. So we began to dream. I live in the Mid-Atlantic area. We started a summer conference for high schoolers on the Chesapeake Bay in 2015. FYI, if you're looking for a summer conference for your high schoolers, go to rym.org conferences and check us out. It's late summer. It's awesome at the beautiful North Bay Conference Center. High school conference there. And as we were getting to know more youth workers in the area, some of them were beginning to come down to Nashville. I was building relationships with some folks up in the Pennsylvania area, both out of Pittsburgh and in the Philadelphia area. I had met some folks in New York. So we began to dream about what we felt like there was a good critical mass and good regional accessibility to somewhere between Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia. So we kind of aimed at that corridor. It took about 2 years of looking at locations, retreat centers, conference centers, talking with youth leaders. Hey, is this something that you'd be interested in? Some of them have never heard about RYM. Some had heard, but just couldn't come because of distance. And we also, at the same time, were thinking west. We've had inquiries from the West Coast, and we would love to somehow do something on the West Coast. But what ended up winning the day for the Mid-Atlantic Northeast area was simply just critical mass at this moment. The geography just works so much better. You've got a lot of people in a smaller geographical area. Numerous folks can get to the area where we ended up landing close to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, kind of in a 4 to 6 hour drive. But it, at the same time, is also accessible with at least three major airports. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania is right up the road. Philadelphia and Baltimore are each roughly an hour away. I think one maybe is close to an hour, a little bit more than an hour. But so we felt like we were still accessible and also very close to a number of churches that could come to us. So we ended up there. The actual location, it was found relationally, which is beautiful. Walt Mueller's been working with us ever since we decided to expand and began to dream about coming to that area. Walt and eventually through Walt to Duffy, he was just excited about bringing training to that area of the country because he's like, hey, no one comes up here. Everybody goes south. And so he helped us and identified some possible locations. And I traveled around looking at some locations. But ultimately, in order to keep costs down and to be as accessible as we could, he introduced me to some friends of his at Keystone Church, which is the church which will host all the teaching right there in Paradise. Introduced me to the pastors there, the youth workers there, who knew about RYM, actually had listened to, who had considered coming to YLT in Nashville, but had a schedule conflict and was super excited about us coming to his backyard. And they were enthusiastic about hosting us at their facility. And a member of their church, actually, or an attender of their church, either owns or manages the hotel facility just up the road that we will be using as well for all of our lodging, and he was excited about what we're trying to do. And it's a beautiful hotel right up the road. And Lancaster, Pennsylvania is just basically kind of 15 minutes away, which gives us a lot of great opportunities for going out to eat and spending those evenings together, which was something that we felt very important to try to, you don't have to go to Lancaster. There's other places even right there in Paradise and other little townships in there. It's just beautiful countryside out there. Anyway, it became very apparent to us that that's where God wanted us to launch. Walt Mueller, CPYU, is located right there. That would help him as well be a part of our ministry, and he's helping us connect with people in his community. At the time, Duffy was in Eastern, which is really close to there. So we moved to that area, back to principles. Details are not what we want to talk about right now. Principles were, we wanted to get more accessible to more youth workers, so that it could be less of a financial burden, less of a time commitment, so that they can get up at a normal time on a Monday and hop in their car and head to the conference, and they could be back Friday by dinner, maybe, depending on where they're from. So it was this idea to get more regionally close to more youth workers. But the second thing that we really began to lean into and is bearing fruit already as registrations come in, it allows a second set of dates for youth workers to consider that might actually work better for them than the January dates. There are people who live closer to Nashville who are going to come to the Paradise, Pennsylvania conference simply because the dates work better for them. It's great. We've got a guy from Washington State, girl from Wisconsin, South Carolina. They're kind of, it becomes an option. So again, we not only gain accessibility to youth workers regionally, but we also gain accessibility by creating another option in terms of time of the year. It may work better for people's schedules. So, and I will say this, that for the most part, the content will be very similar. The philosophy of ministry will be taught at both places. It will be different people teaching some of those courses. Some of them will be the RYM staff people will be teaching some of the same ones they do, but some of our Nashville philosophy ministry speakers, they're pastors at other places, and they can't necessarily head out again. But we will be teaching the philosophy ministry courses. We'll be having the electives. Some of the electives will be similar, some will be different, but the structure of the week will be very similar. So if you're the core piece of RYM's youth leader training will be the same at both places, while some of the accompanying pieces will be a little bit different.
Yeah, it's really exciting to think about just this second location. And like you said, it can just help reach an area, again, that people, I know when we talked to Walt, just saying kind of what we were doing at YLT, that really wasn't happening in that area. And so just his encouragement to kind of bring it up there is exciting. And as you mentioned, eventually wanting to expand more to the West Coast, just throwing this out there. I know there's consistent downloads of this podcast in California. We can, see that and track that. And so there's somebody out there listening, or several people out there listening. So, hey, reach out to us. Let us know who you are. We'd love to hear from you and love to connect, and maybe even think about bringing YLT to your neck of the woods. So please reach out to us. I know we've got a podcast email, but we don't really check that. So email Michael, email myself, and we'd love to talk with you. And eventually we'll start checking the podcast email a little bit more. But anyway, yeah, it's interesting just to share how that expanded, and interesting to hear, some of that background. Michael, anything you want to add as we close this out?
Well, I would just say that with reference to expansion and growth, I mean, we understand ultimately that people can't always make it away for a conference, and nothing can kind of replicate actually being present at a YLT in terms of the human connection and the experience you have alongside other youth workers, and the face-to-face kind of interaction you can have with some of these kind of gurus and superstars, so to speak. Not that they're great or whatever, they're broken sinners like us, but they've got so much experience and wisdom to give us. And that's another beautiful thing about being a conference that's not enormous. I mean, anybody who wants to go talk to any of our main speakers, they're going to get access, share meals together, et cetera, et cetera. But what I just want to remind everybody is that almost every session at YLT is recorded, and then after the conference placed on our website to listen for free. So if you're, international, or there's just no way you could make it work for various reasons. A lot of people are bivocational or whatever. There is training to be had for you at rym.org under the resources tab. You go down to conference media, I think is what it is. And then one of the tabs there is youth leader training. And you'll see, year 1, year 2, year 3, that just has to do with philosophy ministry stuff. So if you're brand new, go in there and listen to stuff from year 1, then try the year 2 stuff. And you're going to get, again, it's not the same. And again, some of the recordings get all jacked up, and there'll be something missing. You're like, wait a minute, where's this? We apologize for that. We've gotten better the last couple of years, better and better every year. And this year we'll again get even better with our recording stuff. But just want you to know, world of youth workers, that, hey, we love YLT. We believe it is the most important thing we're doing to shepherd and come alongside the church as it seeks to reach the next generation. We need strong youth workers who are thoughtful about what they're doing, and are affirmed in their call and encouraged by the gospel. But we're doing these conferences, but we just know everybody can't come. But we want to make sure that as much of the content as possible is made available to you. So maybe you hop on there and there's an elective that you loved and there's a mention of a handout that's not posted on our website. Shoot me an email. Likely we've got access to that somewhere. We want to serve you with training content at these conferences. But if in God's providence you literally just can't make it, please visit our website. Please don't hesitate to email me, mhall@rym.org, and we can just talk through some of these things. That's what I've said yes to God's call to do, is be available to you, to talk ministry, to talk both equipping, connection, as well as encouragement. So thank you all for what you do. I look forward to seeing many of you at one of our 2 youth leader training conferences in 2019, many for the first time, and even many more for a number of years we've shared together. I can't wait to meet you guys. And again, look forward to seeing what God will do in the next ministry year.
Yeah, it's well said, Michael. And again, exciting to think about these 2 new locations. And I'm glad you mentioned how people can access this stuff on our website. I mean, as you hear constantly from RYM, our heartbeat is passing the faith on to the next generation. And we do that by also partnering with local churches and equipping local churches. We give this podcast away for free, that hopefully is an encouragement to others. YLT resources that are available for free. I've used those with my own staff, just sitting in the office, playing those audio recordings and talking through them. And then also, we've got Bible study material, as many people know, that's away for free. And so to give this away for free, we do love partnering with local churches. So if you're interested in supporting us and helping us continue to make these resources available for free, please reach out, visit our website, and look at how you can partner with us. So, Michael, thanks again for all your time. Really appreciate you sitting down and talking with me.
Appreciate it, John. It's been a delight, and looking forward to hanging out pretty soon in Nashville.
All right, man. Have a good one.
You too.
Oh, come and buy without money. Oh, come and feast without